Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Flo. I'm the Director of Partnerships here at AirDNA, and I'm joined by Barbara Kendrick, Senior Director of Business Development at RedAwning. Hey, Barbara, how are you doing today?
Great. It's awesome to be here with you today.
Thanks for joining us. So I'll jump right into the agenda. So today, in today's webinar, we'll talk about how to research markets, how to research properties, how to estimate revenue, how to manage pricing, and how to manage properties and promotion.
Flo, we get this question a lot from owners and vacation property managers. They want to know about AirDNA. Do we know about AirDNA and what benefits can they provide their vacation rental? So can we start there and you tell us a bit about AirDNA?
Sure. So AirDNA is the world's leading provider of vacation rental data. AirDNA tracks the daily performance of over 10 million listings on Airbnb and Vrbo in 120,000 markets worldwide. So as it is our goal to democratize the short-term rental market, we provide the same data that drives processes at large organizations such as a CBRE or Bank of America to owners and property managers to help them make better informed decisions. So in a nutshell, that covers the whole life cycle of a vacation rental property, from the initial property selection to the operational part for listing optimization, dynamic pricing, which is based on comp sets and updates recommended rates on a daily basis, and then competitive benchmarking to help you understand how good of a job you're doing or how well your property is performing. And then the other part that's super important to understand about AirDNA is where we get our data from, our data sources. We scrape data from Airbnb and Vrbo, which covers around 10 million properties worldwide. And then my day-to-day is to partner with PMSs, channel managers, and large property managers who provide us with anonymized reservation data, which we use to kind of train and the algorithm and clean our data. And then we have data from 35,000 individual hosts who also provide us with anonymized reservation data.
Okay, what does the market look like and what's happening in a specific market?
So that's a really good question. So at the moment, even when I talk to people in the industry, or if I talk to people who hear that I work in tourism, there's kind of everyone's concerned that tourism has been brought to its knees. And that's not a completely wrong statement, obviously, but in a nutshell, it really depends. So we were just looking at the VRBO trend report for 2021, and it's got a very positive outlook for travel, especially for short-term rentals, where they interviewed and surveyed families and their travel plans. And 82% of the families already have travel plans for 2021. 59% of families say they are more likely to drive instead of fly on the next trip. 61% of families said they are more likely to visit an outdoorsy destination than an urban one. I'm very much included in those 61%. And then the top amenities cited for booking a vacation rental is the kitchen with 64%.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, this outlook really reflects a study that that we did in December, back in December, looking at data year over year, comparing December 2020 with December 2019, and short-term rentals in demand in destination markets is exceeding all expectations. And what's causing these changes? So while travelers avoid urban centers, we saw an increase in bookings, even at increased average daily rates in rural drive to destinations, a drop-off in the number of hosts and listings. So basically owners who decided to not rent out their properties, but use them for themselves. And then remote work and school has made it possible for people to escape the city. And we see this kind of changes, especially when you compare urban markets to rural markets, which we see here on the right-hand side, a decrease in demand when you look at the New Yorks, the Mauis, the Las Vegases, New Orleans, Oahu, where you have in New York a drop up to 56%. And then on the left-hand side, the Gulf Shores, Mobile, Alabama, Lower Hudson Valley, Coachella Valley, Big Bear, Lake Tahoe, for example, with solid increase in demand over December because people really wanted to travel. They were eager to travel and they wanted to get out of the city in these rural markets. So in order to get if we go back to this investment approach that we're looking at today, in order to get a high level understanding of markets with the most growth, you can use our research, best places to invest. And the report provides not only the top 25 locations in up and coming markets, it also looks at medium and large markets. And here we see the top 4 markets in our estimated revenue potential for each. And you can see they vary widely in geographically, and they are markets we hadn't seen previously in similar researches. So in this best places to invest report that's available at AirDNA, we looked at the number of active properties and the annual revenue potential in that market. We looked at standout locations here so the standout locations here include cities throughout the Appalachian Mountains, Minnesotan lakes, Northern California, and upstate New York, for example. And then with these changes in travel plans and locations, it's crucial to have historical data that goes back more than just a year or even 2 years, so that you can understand what markets looked like during what would be considered normal times compared to last year. And then it's important to not just focus on revenue alone. And for our study, we analyzed the following factors. So look on the right side of the slide. So we consider revenue growth. Did the properties earn more this month than they did in the same month last year? This is calculated by looking at the change in year-over-year RevPAR for properties that received bookings in both time periods. RevPAR being revenue per available rental, typical hotel acronym. And then rental demand, how often are rentals booked throughout the year? And by using a combination of annual occupancy and listing growth rates, this metric shows the relative travel demand in each market. And then investability. So this metric uses Zillow's cost of homes and compares it to average income of full-time short-term rentals on Airbnb and Vrbo. And together, these data points combined to create our ultimate proprietary ranking metric, the AirDNA Investor Score, which helps you understand if a market is ideal for your investment or if it's not, or it makes it comparable.
This is all interesting information. What follows the market comparison?
So once you honed in on a market for your potential investment, you will want to look deeper into each city and neighborhoods. So AirDNA can give you the average revenue and occupancy figures, quarterly growth, amenities, rate analysis, pacing, and more to spot the right market that fits your portfolio. So MarketMinder lets any user access free data in 120,000 markets around the world. And this provides high-level market intelligence on supply, demand, and seasonal trends, and view the location and rental activity of every vacation rental in the market. And then when you look, for example, at if you pinpoint to seasonality, so each market will have a slightly different high season depending on where you're looking. Ski areas. Sorry, just a sec, I have to drink something.
That's okay.
Sorry, guys. So ski areas will be very different than beach areas, obviously, but it's more complex than that, especially at a time when people are traveling to places that are more destinations than cities. And while most owners and property managers are aware of their main seasons, MarketMinder will help them identify the so-called micro seasons, where demand and supply might change compared to otherwise typical patterns. And then another tool that's super helpful in MarketMinder is pacing tools, which show the future demand to give you kind of a sense of booking windows, booking rates, year-over-year comparisons, and occupancy rates. So that's kind of the typical scenario we are now, where a property manager cannot go back and say, well, I've been in this industry for 30 years, and I know exactly when my season kicks in. I know when bookings will happen. And this is kind of where a tool like MarketMinder can help you understand how the market is kind of evolving and if you're on track. So another thing that's kind of unique to MarketMinder is our market comparison. It shows the trending revenue, occupancy, and rates for each market you're considering. And you can compare what the markets look like between zip codes and neighborhoods. And it doesn't matter if it's a studio or a 6+ bedroom count that you can filter by kind of how many guests it accommodates. And we see here in the slide on the yellow and the baby blue line, these are 2 zip codes in Palm Springs that are very successful this in 2020 compared to 2021 and 2019. And then the green line, kind of as a baseline, we see an urban market as Santa Monica, where we see the line slightly dip at the height of coronavirus, but it never really recovered. And then we have Castroville, one of the absolute top performing markets in last year that saw a huge, huge success in regards to revenue growth.
So after a potential owner has identified their market, how would they go about selecting the correct property or the ideal property?
Exactly. So now that we're kind of honing in, again, kind of we went from it could be a national or a sub-regional level to kind of a city or a more local market. And now we want to hone in on a couple of properties. So once you decided on your market and your bedroom count based on your analysis, you're ready to research rentals for sale. So Zillow and Redfin are great places to start looking for listings that fit your criteria. Mm-hmm. And then once you filter for budget and property attributes, gather a few addresses of interest and head back to MarketMinder. And then in MarketMinder, you have another tool called Rentalizer. It's with a financial calculator. And you should have all the information you need to then take a final decision. So that tool has a calculator where you can enter any address in the world and immediately receive annual revenue and occupancy projections. And just to make this completely clear, this doesn't have to be a property that's currently listed on Airbnb or Vrbo or any other site. If the property is not listed on any of the OTAs or booking sites, we will look at comparable properties close by, analyze their booking pattern, their revenue, their occupancy, and how they're performing, and aggregate this to calculate an average to provide you kind of with a forecast of what this property could deliver if you were to list this on the short-term rental markets. And then to take this kind of one step further, you can enter in the calculator the cost of the home and your projected major expenses like a management fee, lodging tax, property tax, cleaning fees, and so on and so forth. And receive kind of your operating income and cap rate to complete your investment rate. And so cap rate, short for capitalization rate, is being calculated by the net operating income divided by the property asset value multiplied by 100 to get percentage. And we see in this example here a cap rate of just over 10%, which in general would be considered as solid, but that also depends on the market you're investing in.
So how would owners manage pricing and all other aspects once they bought the property?
Yeah, okay, so that's the other thing that I mentioned at the beginning. So AirDNA doesn't just help you kind of with your investment analysis and how to get into the game. Once you purchase your property and list it on Airbnb and similar sites, we can help you receive competitor insights and personalized property level pricing, comset pacing, market level insights, and more. And the data in custom comms will keep your prices optimized and occupancy up to par. and competitor insights handy to kind of maximize your revenue potential. And there's a very sophisticated pricing tool that's also available in MarketMinder, and that's kind of benefiting from custom comms, and it drives dynamic pricing recommendations, which will update your prices on a daily basis, not just kind of depending on demand and supply, but really depending on how your comps are, your competitors, and are performing. And while we recommend a comp set for you, which we consider as similar properties in your area, owners and property managers will have the ability within the tool to fine tune, kick out some comps that they might think they're not relevant to them, or add properties which they find important. So the tools are all there to help you select your property, manage your property, and set all your KPIs and pricing decisions, and use benchmarking tools to kind of understand if it's performing the way you expected. And then I'll hand over to you, because if that's too much for you, if you say, well, actually, I'd rather want to see this just as an investment opportunity, you can talk to a property management solution like RedAwning. And Barbara, off to you.
Sure. So I'll explain a little bit about what RedAwning is. So RedAwning is a leading hospitality marketing and management platform for short-term rental success. As a full-service marketing provider, so RedAwning takes care of distribution, reservation management, guest support, and channel optimization for owners and property managers.
Perfect. So, so a couple of questions that we get quite often, especially kind of if people are just on Airbnb. In your opinion, is Airbnb enough? And if not, what are the best channels to list your property on? And what's kind of the right mix if you want to get in the short-term rental game?
Absolutely, we get this question a lot too. So multi-distribution works for all host and property management, and it is so important to be on Airbnb, but it's also important to be on all of the major vacation rental channels, such as Booking.com, Expedia, and don't eliminate the idea of getting on all the other channels entirely, because we're seeing that 15 to 20% of our reservations are coming from channels that you wouldn't think that would bring in bookings for a vacation rental. On the other hand, I know it's tedious, right? It's tedious and time consuming to get on these channels if you're working on your own. You're going to have to contact them, sign an agreement, manage a calendar for each one, answer your guest reviews on each one, guest complaints or questions, and even charge the guest credit card. Fortunately, here at RedAwning, we've made it easier for owners to get listed on all of these channels with less work and less commission. So working with us, it's one agreement, one calendar to manage, and we help you with all the rest. We just ask you to maintain your property.
Yeah. And Booking.com, for example, the biggest booking site for European guests, so that should bring especially European guests to the US. Actually, one thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the webinar, since we've got quite a lot of material to cover today, we won't be taking questions at the end of the webinar. Please use the chat functionality on the site. David's manning the chat. Please leave your email address. We'll be happy to kind of follow up. Or at the end of the presentation, you will see our email addresses and we'll follow up. Forgot to mention that, but I thought that was important.
Yeah, so we'll see the questions and we'll follow up with answers after the webinar.
Exactly. So, and then another question I had is like, how important are amenities to attracting guests and making kind of my listing competitive? And how important is photography in your opinion?
Very important. So 97% of travelers claim that amenities affect their travel experience. So we have multiple owners that sign up with us and they didn't think it was important. So for example, they would have a pool or a hot tub or a washer and dryer. That's a big one. And they wouldn't display it. It's so important to make sure you're displaying and advertising all of your amenities, especially if you have a pool, that's a top one, a kitchen, Wi-Fi, because now a lot of travelers are mixing business with pleasure. So they have to work possibly while they're on vacation. So Wi-Fi is a huge one. Of course, air conditioning and heating, and a hot tub. Believe it or not, I'm that traveler. I'm going to book a vacation rental if they have a hot tub. And to tell you the truth, Flo, I'm never even going to get into the hot tub. I hardly ever get into the hot tub, but I just think it's cool that they have a hot tub. So I know it might not, it makes no sense, but to me, it's more appealing because it's there. Also keep in mind though, other amenities that are free, of course, that word free, free parking, a free bottle of wine. Hey, everybody likes a free bottle of wine, right?
Yeah.
Free Wi-Fi. They always convert higher if you can offer any type of free amenities. As for photos, which we'll go on the next slide to go more into photos, 83% of travelers are more likely to book your listing if you have over 20 photos. I know that sounds a lot, but it's very important. Here at RedAwning, we take pride in the listings that we create for you. So we offer free photography services, and we make sure that we optimize your listings by increasing your content score. And when you have a high content score, you actually boost up, your algorithm is actually higher, and you boost up in the ranks on those vacation rental desk channels. So, you know, we take pride in that here at RedAwning. We make sure that we have the best photos that we can get for you, so we can boost your rankings on the sites, which in result will result in higher bookings, right? More bookings.
I mean, I see this as a kind of from the consumer side. I just booked kind of my summer vacation, and I'm still surprised how many properties still have kind of with a telephone made kind of pictures, bad lighting, too much detail, not enough detail, and I think there's kind of definitely room for improvement.
Absolutely. And if you're not working with RedAwning and you don't want to, and you can't hire a photographer, you can do it on your own. And that's where you get with the photo, you know, the photos coming from the phone. You can take photos and make them look like they're not from your phone. Some of the tricks that and the traits that we've inherited from the channel partners that we work with, their requirements and tips that they've given us is, for one, take pictures of your amenities, right? If you have that washer and dryer, if you have that hot tub, take pictures of that. When you're taking pictures in your vacation rental, have your blinds open. Do it on a day that is not too sunny and it's not raining, on that cloudy day. Take those pictures. You can also take the four-corner approach. And when you're in each four corner of your room, facing the middle of the room, you take a picture of each four corners. Make sure your flash is off. Also, if you're taking a picture of the outside, which you should take I think I saw a chat that someone was asking about that. It is a good idea to take a picture of the outside in the grounds. Do that 30 to 45 minutes before the sun sets. So it's not too bright out there, but it's also not too dark. So that gives the best pictures at that time of day. Also very important, I want everyone, if you haven't taken anything away, take this away when you're taking photos. Make sure that your pixels are 1920 by 1080 at least, because if you do not have those high def photos, at least at that pixel size, you will not be able to get on some of the channels. So you want to make sure that you have at least the minimum requirements that each channel is asking for when it comes to photos.
Yeah. And then talking about channel requirements, so how important is it to keep your calendar up to date and plan for future rates and bookings?
I'm glad you asked that. So constant availability plays a big part in how you're ranked in the algorithm on the channels. So the more rates and availability that you have in a calendar throughout the year, the more exposure you're going to receive on those channels. It's important to keep a rolling 365-day at least. If you can give more, that's great. But I know, for some property managers that could be hard. But at least a 365-day rolling availability on your property in your calendar. Also, keep in mind, consider running a promotion during your shoulder season or even your high season. Competitive rates and constant availability is the key to success.
Perfect. And yeah, that's a question that I thought was also super important for especially the current time. So how strict should my cancellation policy be? Does it even matter? And how important are reviews to my listing success, and how do I manage that?
Well, when it comes to the cancellation policy, 77% of travelers are more likely to book your property if you have a flexible cancellation. This was a big concern with owners when we were switching from, you can pick whatever cancellation, no cancellation policy, to free, selecting a free cancellation policy that actually the channels are requesting now, right? What we are seeing is over a 200% increase in bookings when you change from no free cancellation to a free cancellation. The other concern owners had was, okay, Barbara, what if I opt into this free cancellation? My cancellation percentage is going to increase. I can't deal with that. I'm going to lose money. In actuality, no, we don't see that happening. So your reservations have increased for one, right? And not everyone is going to cancel. And now your data showed this too, right? And now, because short fuse bookings are more popular than ever because of the times that we're in, right?
Exactly. That's a good example on how to kind of use AirDNA once you're operational in these kind of different times where booking lead time, kind of how far out people are booking, has changed dramatically, and people are basically glued to the news, waiting for restrictions to end, and then they want to book something to get out and do something. And even if you're kind of now you want something to look forward to, or it's a phrase I learned from my mother, you always need something to look forward to. And for me, it's typically my vacation. If you know that, hey, you have this place booked and you can take the family out or your partner or whatever, and you've got the freedom that if things change, if things were to change, that you can cancel, that just makes it so much easier. And like I said, if you look at MarketMinder, for example, you will see these changes in booking lead time, and you will not have to worry as much if you have free cancellation, if you will actually miss out on bookings.
Right, because with the short fuse bookings, that 30-day and less, they're booking 30 days and less, and that means your vacancy is going to be, that has more of a chance to get filled now more than ever.
Yeah. So let's talk about reviews a little bit.
Sure. So reviews, this is interesting because 53% of travelers won't commit to a booking without reading a review first, right? And I remember a time back in the day, I've been in the industry for almost 20 years. You've been for a long time too. Reviews wasn't, they weren't really important. It was good to have, you got that extra 5-star on there or 4-star. But now more than ever, it is so important. And it's because the trends of the traveler has definitely changed. So what we're finding is that the research shows that millennials took more trips and spent more on travel than any other age group in the past 3 years. So with millennials, they're more keen on spending their money on experiences rather than possessions. And so also this age group heavily relies on reviews and what they're finding on the websites and on social media. Me, myself, I have 3 children and they're all millennials, and observing them and how they actually travel or even purchase anything, as a matter of fact, anything, confirms that this is true. This is pretty accurate, at least in my case as well. They're always searching on social media or searching on their website, and they want to read a review before they commit to anything.
I mean, reviews are kind of your safety net, because pictures, as important as professional pictures are, they also kind of provide the opportunity to make a room appear larger than it is. I saw a picture taken really from the corner of the pool, to make it look like massive. And I just knew from the way the picture was taken that it's probably not as big. And then the review just kind of gives you that counterbalance to help you understand if that's kind of a good deal from a consumer point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about this yesterday, Flo. You're making me laugh because catfishing in the VR industry is definitely a thing. So don't just look at the photos and say, hey, let's go ahead and book this. Definitely look at the reviews as well, and make sure you're marketing your property appropriately for all types of travelers. And reviews are a great start.
Yeah. So let's look a little bit in the future. What trends from a technology point of view are you seeing for vacation rentals?
Sure. So many guests indicate that they would pay more for a vacation rental with smart home features. And RedAwning partners with some of these, like Turnover B&B. We use them for our owners who actually want to book their cleaning or turnover services. And they can do that straight through their RedAwning portal and with Turnover and B&B. But there are many other technology apps that are offered to owners now. For example, guest service apps like Hello, Touch Stay and Hello There, Smart Key Exchange and home security apps like Key Cafe, Remote Lock. Also, many owners are looking into using the Echo Dot. We here at RedAwning, we're actually looking into this, and we should be starting here in the future, using this to place in their property if they choose. And the reason that they're doing this is to take the place of a front desk, because when you stay at a vacation rental, you don't have that front desk experience if you need to know directions somewhere, or the best restaurant, or if you have a maintenance emergency. So things like the Echo Dot is available for vacation rental owners to use in their home if that's something that is important to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could really see in the last couple of years how the vacation rental industry kind of caught up with the hotel industry, where things like a digital concierge or kind of like Echo Dot replacing the concierge type of thing, keyless entry, where maybe now you're not as keen to meet a host, maybe you don't want to meet them at all.
Right.
And where services can be provided. Kind of one of my favorites is kind of a tailored fridge stocking, which is also an upsell opportunity. If you've got a good local beer or local wine, some ham, some cheese, something that you can offer, and that's kind of makes you kind of already feel welcome, and also an opportunity to kind of dive into the location where you are kind of staying.
Absolutely. The vacation rental industry is getting smart fast. And technology apps like this are allowing owners or hosts to take control of managing all aspects of their vacation rental on their own, even in a remote location. So like you said, even if you don't want to see them and you want to manage it from abroad, you can do that.
And I mean, and the same in regards to data, like data, the application to data to vacation rentals is still fairly new. I still find it in its infancy. Same for kind of smart pricing, dynamic pricing. And I can remember that bullet point. I saw someone on LinkedIn today who was the head of a major hotel chain. And I think they had twice as many revenue managers as they had hotel units. That just kind of shows how meticulous the hotel industry kind of looks after every penny that they can kind of make from their units. And I mean, for vacation rentals, it might be actually a good case where your opportunity is either you get booked or you don't get booked. Whereas in a hotel, you've got several rooms. You can say I'm at 70% occupancy, for example. But that's why it's really, really important to have your rates kind of spot on and make sure that you're kind of using technology that's available to you to kind of make you as successful as possible.
Yeah, that's actually a great segue into the next question that you had about the trends. Like, what are we seeing for vacation rental and host next? And I totally agree with you 100%. That's a big part of it. Vaccinations are increasing and people are having they have saved money, or honestly, Flo, some people haven't saved money, but they're just ready to get the heck out of there. They've been in their home for so long, they've been quarantined, even working from their house, they're ready to get out and travel. So I know us at RedAwning, we give that option to the firm. So even if they didn't save money and they want to finance their vacation, they can do that through RedAwning, through a firm. But I say that to say this: they're ready to get out there. They're ready to travel. And these are the trends that we're seeing happening is, okay, they're ready to travel, but what has changed is they'd rather stay in a vacation rental versus a hotel because they feel like it's more private, it's secluded, it's clean, it's away from the crowds that you would find at a traditional hotel or resort. So definitely stay one step ahead of your competition and be ready for the next wave of travelers that we're going to be, that's going to be coming up. They're going to be wanting to stay at your vacation rental versus.
There was just an article today in the New York Times covering that as well, that there might be a massive, massive travel boom ahead of us. And everyone who's kind of already in the vacation rental industry, or if you're considering to get into the vacation rental industry, you're really looking at the right kind of segment. And there's also kind of no indication whatsoever that this is just kind of a temporary trend. We've seen vacation rentals kind of boom. Airbnb would be kind of the most famous example, and their IPO of how popular vacation rentals are. Over here in Europe, you've got a Booking.com that is a full-blown OTA that traditionally kind of focused entirely on kind of campsites, hotels, hostels. And when they realized how successful Airbnb was getting with this alternative accommodation, they went full speed ahead to kind of counter that and offer similar inventory. So I think we're completely in the right market. We are a little bit the lucky ones compared to others. If you look at airlines and hotels, they will still need some time before they catch up. So we're just coming to the 40-minute mark, which was our goal. As I mentioned, we didn't cover, or we're not answering any questions today, not today, but we're happy to answer your questions. I hope you kind of dropped messages to David in the chat. If not, you can reach me at florian.stich, S-T-I-C-H, at AirDNA.co, or Barbara at redawning.com. Please follow up with us. I hope you have some questions. I hope this was insightful. We covered quite a lot, but since we tried to cover the whole kind of life cycle from the initial property selection to kind of how you manage it and how you win at the vacation rental game, I hope we could provide you with some insights today. Barbara, thanks so much for joining me. Absolutely. It's a real pleasure talking to you.
And it's exciting times for the vacation rental world. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Then thanks everyone for tuning in, for joining us. And thanks so much, and hope to talk to you soon. And I hope to see you on a vacation rental trade fair or travel trade fair, which I'm yearning to go to.
Absolutely. Have a great week, everyone. Bye. Bye.